Okay, so you got two handouts today. You got assignment 105 and exercise 119. For exercise 119, you're going to be working on assignment 105. There are some things that I want to show you in AutoCAD, but I think it will be helpful if you get a little bit further along with your design process. So I'm actually going to split and reverse lab and lecture a bit today. I'll start with just a little bit of talking about your particular site and what you're going to be designing, and talk about program and that sort of thing. And then I'll let you work for an hour, hour and a half or so, and then I'll come back and show you some of the things that I want you to learn about AutoCAD. But I think it'll be more helpful if you get a little bit further on down the road before I give you more information. Certainly for those of you that have never worked in AutoCAD before, I don't want to overload you with too much. So let's talk a little bit about assignment 105. Assignment 105, if we skip to the end, it's due Monday, April 25th, so it's still a ways off. You're going to be doing a bunch of drawings in AutoCAD, and we'll do a layout with these drawings so that you can kind of learn the process of doing layouts. And you will also plot a 24 by 36 inch sheet for this assignment. I will grade the drawings online, but I want you to have the experience and the practice of actually having to plot something here at DVC. So we have two plotters in this room that you guys will be able to plot to, along with paper. So there's not really a huge cost associated with this. It's just the learning curve of making sure you understand and you know how to do the plots in the first place. So for assignment 105, you're going to be designing a cabin in Yosemite Valley. Anybody been to Yosemite before? Okay, a few of you. If you haven't, go. It's pretty spectacular. It's one of those things that we live, a couple hours away from, and it's worth making the visit. So you're going to be designing in Yosemite Valley. Obviously, not something that you could do in real life because it's a national park. So lucky you. You get permission to build your own private cabin in Yosemite Valley. But I picked this deliberately because it has a lot of information, and we can't afford to go on a field trip to Yosemite as much as I would like to. So we're kind of stuck with having to do it virtually and to see the information that's presented online. The good news is there's an awful lot of photos that are available online. We can get a very good sense of what it's like in Yosemite Valley. You're going to be designing for a husband and wife that have no children. And they have requested 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom in their cabin, a living space with a fireplace, and windows that, quote, capture the site. A kitchen open to the living space, a dining space, and you have a maximum square footage of less than 1,000 square feet. So it's not particularly large to squeeze this in, but it's definitely doable. For part 2, you're going to evaluate the site, and we're going to go through that today live, and I'll show you that. And then we'll start on part 3 today, which is the AutoCAD drawings of the floor plan. And so you're going to be actually doing your first bit of design work in the world of AutoCAD. Remember that everything that we design in AutoCAD is full scale, so you can actually calculate out how much a particular square footage would be, how big a room should be, and that sort of thing. But before we get into that, let's talk a little bit about the site. I've gone ahead and I've pulled up assignment 105 on the course website, and at the very bottom, there's a zip package of site information. So I'm going to go ahead and download that. I'll click on it, and it will download. When it's done, I can open up the file, and you get 2 things. One is building site for assignment 105.kmz. This is a Google Earth file that will take us to the location so we can have a good sense of what's going on. And then we also have a topography file that's an AutoCAD file. That's what I'm actually going to open and start working on today. So first thing is I'm going to go ahead and open this KMZ file. And when I do that, it'll open up Google Earth. And it will zoom us in. Very roundabout way here. Down into Yosemite Valley. And there we are with our building site. Okay? There are a bunch of little photos so that you can get a sense. Internet's working slowly here. Of the mountains around us and kind of what this little valley looks like. This is obviously the stream. We've got some animals. Right, and I would encourage you to take some time. Click on the little pictures. It's forested. The building site is right in here, right, with some trees, etc. We're welcome to remove trees. If we zoom out a little bit to get a little bit better sense of what's going on in here, this is essentially Yosemite Valley. This is Half Dome up here at the top. right? If you were hiking Half Dome, anybody ever hiked Half Dome? One of you? It was fun, wasn't it? You probably can't walk the next day, though. I couldn't. I couldn't walk for 3 days. Anyway, totally worth it. Awesome. So if you're hiking Half Dome and you're leaving from the valley floor, you would go up this way and around there, past the waterfalls, past the second waterfalls, all the way around here, and you keep snaking your way up. This is totally not relevant for what we're talking about, but it's kind of fun to talk about anyway, right? And you'd come up this backside here, and you'd hike right along here, and this is the really fun part because there's a bunch of little cables that go up the side that you get to climb on that are quite entertaining. There we go. There's the little cables and all the little people climbing up there. It's totally awesome. Great hike. Well worth it, but it's really long. Anyway, so your particular building site is nested in this little valley. So you have views up at the mountains on either side, but it's a relatively flat terrain. You're not having to hang your building over the side of the mountain or anything like that. Please feel free to take a look at, you can see there's just hundreds of pictures in this area, and if you take a look at these various pictures, you'll get a very good sense of what's going on and what this looks like in your particular building site. So I'd encourage you to look around. In terms of orientations, right, north would be this way. So we're essentially facing north in this little valley looking off that direction. So the south light is going to be rather limited because it's between these two mountains as you come through, so you're going to get it toward the middle of the day. In terms of prevailing winds, you're going to get a wind up canyon during the mornings and down canyon at night. But it's relatively sheltered because it is down in Yosemite Valley. If we were to zoom out, you could obviously get a better sense of where this is positioned in relation to Lake Tahoe, but you get kind of the general idea. So I would encourage you to spend some time looking at the Google Earth file so that you can get a better sense of what the site looks like, etc. There is a little trail, and there is actually a little building here, which is part of why I picked this site in the first place. The building can go away. You don't have to design around the building, but you get the idea of how you would get there. Okay, so when you start up your drawing today, the other file that's in this site package that you downloaded is the topography for the site. And so if I double click on this, it will open up AutoCAD, and yours may open, yeah, we'll go ahead and open it read-only, and then I'm going to save it as. All right. There is our terrain. I'm going to go to File, Save As, to make sure that this is saved onto my flash drive. Into today's folder. Bear with me for a second. And today, thank you so much. Apparently it doesn't like me today. Anyway, you'll save it onto your flash drive. This is oriented so that straight up is north. So if we make that correspond to the Google file here, north right now is straight up. So if I were to come in on the site, that's the direction we're looking, which means that the slope of the hillside is sloping away from us here. So this end is higher than that end. Does that make sense? So it's going down this direction. So this is your building site. You can build anywhere on this site that you want. The contour intervals are 1 foot apart. So as you step up from here, each one of these that you pass is 1 foot. So it's relatively flat, but there's a little bit of slope on the site. Does that make sense? Yeah? So this is on its own topography layer, so you can turn that layer off if you want to. We can also lock that layer so that you can't accidentally select it if you wanted to. There's a little lock symbol here, and when you do that, you can't do anything. You can't accidentally delete the layers or anything like that. So this is available. If this is really distracting for you, you can turn this topography off altogether. You can just turn it off. Oh, it's not going to let me do it. There we go. And then you can draw without it there. But this is meant to kind of assist you, give you a sense of what your building site looks like and how big your building is going to be. the truth is that your building is going to be very small. Okay, 1,000 square feet is not particularly large, and if you were drawing it, it's going to end up kind of down in this scale across a couple of the contours. It's not very big. This is 1,000 feet by 1,000 feet, so big site. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you guys work for a bit, kind of getting started, starting drawing your floor plan and that sort of thing, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about some things like bringing blocks in, finding blocks, and how do you kind of enhance your drawings from there. Okay? So I don't want to overload you with too much. Start drawing. You should be on layer 0, and you should also confirm, I can't remember whether my units were set right. Let me just confirm. Oops. Yeah, they're in architectural, so we're in good shape. Okay, so I'll let you work for about an hour to an hour and 10 minutes. So we'll say at 9:30, I'll come back and give you a little bit more instruction.